Good evening, Safe Space family, and welcome and thank you all for coming to Safe Space tonight. We are so elated tonight. I am so elated when I say we. We're a whole big we with me and myself and LaShonda to have Dr. Keisa Campbell here at Safe Space tonight. For those of you that have never come by Safe Space, we're a place of exchanging ideas. We're a place of encouragement. We are a place that has evolved into a place of storytelling. We've been in existence for 3 years and we share testimonies, trainings, we share uh, information from authors. We talk about the goodness of God and how faithful He has been in all situations. We've told stories from disappearances of children to stories of people being brought back to a normal life after being a drug addict for 44 years. We told all types of stories here. And tonight we have an extraordinary young lady that has a wonderful testimony. And she's evolved into such a beacon of light, which is what God indeed created her to be. And when you hear her tonight and you see her and you talk to her, you will totally agree with me. Just to give you a little background on Dr. Keisa Campbell, she is a life coach, a lifestyle motivator, a purpose pusher. Is that the right word?
Purpose pusher.
Purpose, a purpose pusher. She is a style coach. She is an author. She is a speaker, corporate. She does all types of training, lifestyle training. I looked at her website this morning, which is KeisaCampbell.com, and I was looking at some of the testimonials. She has a testimonial from Jackie W., which is a USA Miss National Director. She simply says, she helped me to achieve my goal of work life balance. Then she has a serial entrepreneur, Miss Andrea O. After working with Keisa, I walked away with a clear understanding of my purpose, clear direction, and with an accomplishment of all of my goals being in focus and in sight. I want to introduce to you all tonight. That's a little bit about Keisa. She's a mother, but I'm going to let her tell you all about who and what she is, about her testimony, and all the things that God is blessing her to do right now in her life. Welcome, Dr. Keisa Campbell.
Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shelby, for having me on this evening. And thank you for such a beautiful introduction. You hear the things being played back. You was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that too, right? And if we're not careful, it's so important as we move through life that we take that moment to celebrate ourselves because oftentimes it's this on to the next and you don't take the time to sit in what God has already done for you, right? And so I'm about to get a little ahead of myself, and that's why I'm like, it's all in the beautiful living that we must stop and embrace what God has done. So thank you for those, announcing those things as being a style coach and a life coach and all those things. But at the end of the day, I'm really a vessel of God. And it's like what He wants me to do, right? I always say I didn't choose this. He chose this for me. It was, I just said yes. I said yes to it. And so I'm gonna I see you over there want to say something.
You were brave enough to walk into it, though. I want
Yes.
you to tell, first of all, I met Keisa about a month ago at
Yes.
a very wonderful gathering that Paula Birch Jackson, that is a mutual friend of ours, invited us to. And I want to take this moment to thank her because I was telling my friends that I'm away with that you all were so kind to me and inclusive. I knew no one there but Paula, and a number of you all knew each other. But I never felt like an odd person out. I always felt very included. You all were so kind. And that's you and every other woman that was in that room. And it was at least, what, 15 of us?
It was, yeah,
It
minimum,
was
yes, it was at least that.
a blessed group of women and a plethora of experiences and professions and well accomplished women and authors. I felt so honored to be there. But what I want to say about you is when you walked in the room, I knew that I was supposed to know you. I knew that I was supposed to talk to you. And when you talked about your brand, and the question that we all answered, which is beautiful living, and the way you explained it through your testimony. Share that with us and share us with us all of the facets of beautiful living from your book, Beautiful Living, that talks about the 8 pillars. And I'm just going to touch on maybe 2 beautiful living pillars. These beautiful living pillars that she talks about are very much so biblically based. Each one of them, she gives a biblical foundation of her thought process in developing this mental beauty, spiritual beauty, relational beauty. That's 3 of the 8. According to Proverbs 23:7 and Romans 12:2 is how she begins the mental beauty, and the rest follows subsequently very much so like that. Tell us about that, Keisa.
Well, first, beautiful living is whole life wellness. I believe that these are the 8 pillars to living a beautiful whole life. They are chain linked to, you can't have one out without the other, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all that we do, it starts in our mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. And so it starts in our mind before we can do anything. And that's why it is the first pillar of beautiful living, because you have to have the right mindset to do all the other things that comes behind it. And you did mention the first 3 being mental, spiritual, and physical. But we do have relational beauty, which is the 4th pillar. We have financial beauty, which is the 5th, and then professional beauty, outward beauty, and I think last but not least, I don't
Social.
social beauty. Yeah, I was trying to make
Mm-hmm.
sure I didn't miss one. And so all of those things are important to have a whole life balance. And I don't even like to even say balance. I like to use the word harmony because something's going to drop. Something is going to, but if you can sit here and put this in harmony and live your day to day, right? And I like to look at beautiful living as it's not every day that is perfect, right? Every day we wake up, it doesn't mean that your life will, the your lens may say, today is not beautiful, but today is beautiful because you woke up this morning. Today is beautiful because you still have breath in your lungs. That means you still have purpose. Today is beautiful. And if only you change your perspective on the day, it still is truly beautiful living. And whatever that is you're enduring in the moment, it's only for a time. But you have to get that in your mindset. Like, this is only for a time. And if I keep moving forward, if I keep thriving and pushing forward, this too will be behind me. I will live to see another day. And so when I think about beautiful living, I like to say it because so often life be lifing.
Oh, yes.
Right. And we get caught up in the life be lifing, and we forget about all the other beautiful things of life. And it came about seriously as I was going through a divorce. I felt like I was on life support system. Shelby, I didn't know if I was coming or going. I didn't
I
know if I
understand.
was, and I'm gonna be fully transparent. I thought 2 times for sure to take my life away. That's
Oh,
how
wow.
detrimental it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for God, I'm telling y'all, I ain't even gonna tell y'all what I did. Well, I can because it's a safe space.
It's a
I
safe space.
It's a safe space. But I went to go and get like these scarves.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and got the scarves because I had a ceiling fan in my bedroom.
Right.
And here I am thinking I'm going to wrap the scarves around the ceiling fan. I got up on the bed. Now my daughters were in another room.
Oh,
And I got
God.
up on the bed and I went to touch the ceiling fan. It just started wobbling. And I
Thank
said,
you, Jesus.
this thing gonna fall down on me. And I
Mm-hmm.
snapped out of it immediately and just called my girls. And I said, I need y'all to lay with me. Do not leave my side. At some point, I fell asleep. I rolled over, and them jokers were gone. They had went back to the
But you know what, Keisa? I am getting chills listening to you speak because I understand the pain of divorce. And I think one thing that we have in common is that we were married by 21.
Yes.
I was with my high school sweetheart from, I think we started sneaking dating. I was around 14
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
was 18.
Yeah.
And I graduated from high school early, so I was out of college by 20. And I got
Mm.
married July, and I turned 21 in August.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
moved to Atlanta away from my family 4 hours. So when you've been with someone all of your childhood, all of your life, and the marriage lasts any amount of time, and mine's lasted until I was 31. So if you calculate, I remember calculating how long I had been with him, which was over half of my life. We
Mm-hmm.
were divorcing by the time I was 31, and I had been with him since I was 14. That was 17 years. That
Yes.
was over half of my life. And when you just don't ever see your life without that person. And I wasn't really a needy, dependent wife. That's not my personality.
Yeah.
But it is very hard. But with God, you can make it.
But God.
You can make it.
But God, right? And yeah, the very similar stories. I was married by 21. I got with him. I was a teenager as well, 14, 15 years old. And my divorce was final 2 months and 2 days before my 41st birthday. And so I believe we were together for like 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like how you get in your 40s and have to start over from scratch, right? And, life as you know it is over. And I remember um, just going through the motions of just all the emotions. And I remember one specific day, and I'm gonna back it back. So Beautiful Living came about around 14, about 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful Living was given to me. By
Mm-hmm.
2017, God had me talking about things that I was like, Lord, why you got me on here doing these lives about these topics that I hadn't even experienced? But
Mm-hmm.
it's some good stuff. So I'm gonna
Right.
go forth and go with it. God is so strategic in
Yes,
all
he
things,
is.
even when you can't see it in the moment. Those very lives that I were doing in 2017 was what healed me and got me to the other side. They were for me, the future version of me, the future that I was going to go through that I didn't foresee, but God knew. He was like, sit down, go to those videos. Those were for you. Coach yourself through this. And
Wow.
that's basically what happened. And on the other side of this, it was all the things that I had to, as I sat back, I was like, I had to switch my mindset because I had never lived on my own, Shelby. I
I
moved
had
from my
neither.
mama house, right? I moved from my
See?
mom straight into the home with him. And you talking about, I'll go and put my name on a lease in August. Didn't tell him. I was supposed to move in September. September come, I'm calling them saying, I changed my mind. They was like, well, ma'am, you got to come and break this lease and bring us 2 months. I was like, no, but I hadn't even moved in. Like, I'm trying to get out of it because I'm afraid and scared and not like knowing what to do. And the moment that I had a come to Jesus meeting with the Lord inside that apartment as I was moving stuff in, and I had to shift my mindset. So all the things that I had to do along the way. Now, the pillars were birthed out of me going through a divorce, but there were a lot of parts of my story going along as me being a teen mom at the age of 14, me getting married at 21, me, knocking my hormones out of whack because I was doing the most as a wife and a mom and then still trying to find myself and my own identity in the midst of it, right? And so it's a collab of all the things, my story, but how you can see yourself in it and how to overcome those things if you're dealing with these. I give you some tangible things in the book so it can
Yes, you
help you.
do.
Yes.
Yes, you do. And I want to talk about the book. And you know my story of what happened with me with the book. So I definitely want you to show everyone the book because that's what I normally do. The book is a beautiful cover, and I love the back of the book. Please
Mm-hmm,
turn the back of the book over. And
mm-hmm.
that is a wonderful read. After you read the whole book, make sure you read the very back. That's a wonderful read as well. The book is there were so many things I could identify with other than being a mom because I did not have children. But so often, as we discussed at the round table with Paula, we give so much of ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
even know that. I remember the lady to the right of me, when she became an empty nester, was talking about she didn't know what she wanted to eat
Yeah.
because when she went to the grocery store, she was so consumed with buying what her children wanted and what her husband wanted that when the time came for her to really ask herself that question, what do you want to eat? She didn't know.
Wow. Yeah. I remember that. And that's a lot of women's story. unfortunately, we get married, we get into these relationships, and we find our happily ever after in that moment, or however long, that is. But in that moment, while you in it, women, we tend to lose ourselves in making sure that they are good. I, for me, feel like I had I'm gonna use the word balance here, because I still made it my business to still cultivate relationships with my friends and things. And that's a lot of times, and I talk about that in the book, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
great, you got this man, but don't forget about your good girlfriends, right?
You need
Because
them.
you
Say it.
need them.
Say it.
You need them. It's not all about him. It's not all about those kids. It's about you. You need that good girlfriend energy. Somebody that's gonna take you away. Somebody like you need that. And oftentimes that's how you know when somebody got somebody. Because when you heard from them,
I, they disappear and kick you to the curb. But you know what? I've experienced that very few times in my life.
yeah.
All of my relationships are old, they're
Mm-hmm.
few, and through the grace of God, He's given me the discernment to pick pretty well. There are some
Yeah.
that are not in my life anymore, but even those, for the most part, lasted throughout the duration of when they were supposed to.
Supposed to.
And some were very long. However, but that I've never really been attracted to that type of woman
Mm-hmm.
that just so I inherited them some through other relationships. But when they get a man, they out. And then when it's over, here they come back.
Till they come back. Right, right, right. That's how I be like, oh, she calling now, honey. What the
And they have no idea
Yes.
how therapeutic it is because your children know your husband understands what it is to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there are some conversations you can only have with those people that you don't have to worry about it being the 6 o'clock news or and they really can give you sound advice and they
Right.
can pray with you. They can
Yes.
petition the throne and get this. They can pray when you cannot pray.
That part. And that's
They
when I'm telling you, Chef, I think I said, they'd be like, somebody was always praying for you. I said, Lord, thank you for all the prayers. Because it was some days I couldn't even pray for myself. So I know it was only the strength of those prayers that went before me, the people that was praying for me in the current moment, and those who would continue to pray for me that I'm on this side of glory, right? And
right, right. Well, you're truly on this side of glory because reading your book, listening to you talk, and what I've learned about your story, you have quit a job. Of
mm,
course, you obtained your bachelor's and you have your doctorate that you received this past December, but you quit a job and went into a business that many find very difficult to develop. You are a coach, a speaker, an author, a stylist coach. You do professional workshops,
mm-hmm.
corporate things, memberships, coaching, styling, all of these things, speaking and workshop, vision workshops. You have a beautiful video introducing yourself and what you do on your website. But Keisa, all of those things are very hard to build from the ground and
Yeah.
to move from a, I'm not going to say what I call a job, but a job where you had stable income and you had longevity on the job,
Mm-hmm.
especially after a divorce, and you move into building a business of this type. And then I had the opportunity to attend virally your new endeavor, which is called The Confident Closet, which is
Yes.
a marvelous, very much so needed concept for women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Along with you, I haven't seen this yet, but I went back and saw one or two, but I'm ready for you to restart your beautiful living with Keisa, which is
Yes.
your podcast. You
Yes.
have so many vast things going on with your beautiful living brand. It's just amazing. I know you have to pinch yourself sometimes.
Yeah, so this entrepreneur journey, Shelby, was long overdue. Um, God told me to walk away from that job in 2014. In 2014, I was still married, and He knew that I heard the voice of the Lord. He knew that God spoke to me. So why in the devil when I go and tell him that the Lord said it so clearly to me that it was time, he hit me with, well, the Lord ain't told me that. And so I had just came back from that PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, that I developed from knocking my hormones out of whack, from doing the most as women do, wearing the S on the chest.
Right.
And so
Right.
God had spoken to me then, and He said, "You will never get to where I'll have you while you are here. It's like it's time." And I'm like, "What in the world?" And so I didn't leave because my husband was not on board. My ex-husband was not
Mm-hmm.
on board, and fast forwarded, that was something, a desire that I felt. And when he did get on board, literally the year that he got on board, we separated the same year. And so clearly I was not going to step out then because I'm going through
Right.
divorce, right?
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
God was like, all right, I'm gonna let you go through that for a second. I'm gonna let you get there. But I ain't forgot what I had said. I'm thinking he don't left me alone about it, right? And so last year, I couldn't wrestle with it anymore. And it was very scary to step out into something, being a single mom,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
divorcee,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what this journey was going to take me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I'm a certified coach and I do workshops and those things I had been doing. But I didn't know what that was going to look like. And against all the odds of, you have to be careful who you're telling your dreams to. You have to be careful
Oh
who
yeah.
you're sharing things with, because one wrong person will pour into you the wrong way, then have you second guessing everything that God has told you. And so there was someone along the way that I would keep sharing it with, and she would continue to be like, honey, you better keep your full-time job. And so when I did it, I didn't share it with that person.
That was
Um,
best.
yeah, I didn't share it with that person, but I had my kids right here with me. They stood by me as I went into the computer, because my job, you didn't write no 2-week notice. You had to go into a computer and hit a button. Like, that was terrifying, like terrifying. And so getting to the other side of that, Shelby, I am like, you talking about trusting the Lord. This is I often tell my friends, this is a me and God journey. And He wants it that way. He wants this to be a me and Him journey. I hear you. Oof, me and God journey, where it's not about me depending on other people, but solely on Him. And not that He won't send people into my life to guide me, to support me, to bless me, whatever He knows that is needed in the moment. But it is truly a faith, trust in Lord. I don't learn Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in Lord confidently in all that you do. Like I'm telling you, like, it has become a staple. Jeremiah 29:11, for you have plans to prosper, not to, like, I'm having to tell myself these things, right? Because it's not for the faint at heart. And everybody doesn't understand this journey. And so I am blessed to have said yes, because there are people that He's tugging on and still won't give him the yes. But what I understand is the greatest fulfillment lies on the other side. All right, I saw you point at yourself. It was time for you to give him that yes, because on the other side of your yes is the greatest fulfillment. It's when He tell you to do it. And no matter how scary it looks, it's you and Him. It's you and Him. And you are blessed when He pour and have people, the little people that comes. I don't even want to call it, they are big giants that come along your way, along your journey, as you continue to move forward in whatever it is that He's calling you to do. Because there are people waiting on you to show up for that assignment. And if you don't show up for that assignment, the person that's waiting on you can't get to their next step. They can't get to where they need to be because you ain't showing up. And they need to hear it from you, because they can't get it from Dr. Keisa. They got to get it from Shelby. They can't get it from me. They got to get it from.
I hear you. Get unstuck from survival mode. Start living a more fulfilled life is the quote at the top of her webpage. She also has another quote on here that I absolutely love. She says, I help women of faith discover their identity while fine tuning visions and unlocking their purpose for a more fulfilling life. I like to call it beautiful living. She talks about living a life that you do not need to take a vacation from. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's all about designing, what your beautiful life looks like. I can't define that for Shelby, right? I can't define it from LaShonda. I can't define it from nobody. You have to define what beautiful living looks like for you. I'm the co-pilot on the journey to help you get there. And that's how I like to look at it as when I'm coaching, like you're the pilot, I'm the co-pilot. You have to tell me what beautiful living look like for you. Nobody can't define that for me. And if I told you, Sheb, I just don't know, how you gonna help me?
So I noticed when we were at the round table, you asked questions, thought provoking questions to help women get clarity because so often women are operating in fear or they don't know because they've spent their entire lives living and assisting and aiding someone else. It's never been about them.
Mm-hmm.
A very close friend of mine told me recently, yesterday or today, that when people start to talk about her accolades, that she gets a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of her immediately when you said what you said at the beginning of this
Yeah.
show. You said you embraced it basically, and you used it as a moment to thank God,
Yes.
not to, but see, we're not taught to embrace
Mm-mm.
our wins. We're not taught to pursue our wins. We're taught that in a sense that if we're not careful, it's looked upon as being selfish.
Right. But we have to change the narrative, right?
Right.
We have to start changing the narrative. It is okay to celebrate you in everything. When I wrote this book, I actually wrote it the year before I actually released it. It sat there. I don't know. I had just lost my favorite aunt, and the next month the book was done, and it just sat there for a year. But I was so busy trying to get it out that I didn't stop in the moment to celebrate that the book was written. And I had to say, wait a minute, you were prophesied but over in 2014. She told you you was gonna write a book, but you didn't see that for yourself because of some past stuff. Somebody, every time I wrote something, it was always picked apart like it wasn't good enough. So when I heard that I was gonna be an author, I was like, Lord, you didn't tell me that part. You told me everything else she said. So I don't know how she gonna flip that in because I know, right? And the fact that this book was written and how I'm just trying to get to the next thing, girl, if you don't stop, embrace that this book was written, that something that you didn't think you would ever be able to do because of past things and all the things. We have to learn to stand in our stuff and celebrate all the things because we got enough stuff holding on to us to make us feel like we ain't worthy of it.
That's
And
right.
indeed, we are. We
That's
are
right.
worthy of all things, right? Because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So we are worthy.
I love that. I love that because if we're not careful as women, we
Mm-hmm.
can get caught in a cycle of produce, 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 on to the
Yeah.
next thing, on to the next thing. Now, we don't need to get stuck,
Right.
but we do need to take time to, as you just said, to celebrate and sit in those things that we accomplish. Because I think if we're not careful to do that, we can also get in a place of not showing the gratitude to God that He deserves for
Yes.
allowing us to be able to produce the things that we do. We can also minimize the greatness of what He has allowed us to do
Yes. Yes.
because we can't do it in our own power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a delicate balance,
And
and we
don't,
have to go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. And so to your point, I remember last year when I started the Beautiful Living with Keisa show, I had got up to I think 12 episodes or so.
Mhm,
And I had concluded that would be season one, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
so I was like, oh, okay, that's season one. Well, I wanted to get the one and the two balloon. I wanted to do this and I didn't get it in time. And I was just like, bump it. And I was like, no, ma'am, no. I went to Publix. I went and got me them little cupcake things. I went and got me a one and a two. I lit those things. I went live and said, y'all, I did 12 episodes. Like, yay me. Like, I had to celebrate that moment. So to your point, we don't have to get stuck in it. it's a moment that I took a moment to say, Lord, thank you for bringing me through 12 episodes of the Beautiful Living with Keisa show when it was just a thought a couple of years ago. And it took me still a couple of years to get there. I know you said it. Now I'm just now getting around to it. And creating a gratitude wall. I have one right over here to the left of me, your right here, of sticky notes all on the wall, because I'm constantly right. Tonight, this podcast going on the gratitude wall, because I am grateful that you said, hey, I want you to be a part of this show. And I told you it could have been anybody here on tonight, but you asked me. And so I am grateful to be here. And I'm celebrating that. I'm going to tell the Lord, thank you. And I'm going to put that on my gratitude wall, because oftentimes we miss the little things and we be like, and you just keep going, but like, wait a minute, there was some gratitude in the day. And it's
And
more
now
than
I
what we
see,
even acknowledge.
now I see the concept of your beautiful living. The morning that we were at the round table, you explained it so eloquently and it grasped me. And basically, you said, and I'm summing this up,
Mm-hmm.
that even through all my bad days,
Yeah.
that I gathered something from that to say that I am living beautifully.
Yeah.
This is my beautiful living. And as you alluded to earlier in this podcast, you said, your beautiful living doesn't look like mine.
Right.
Everyone has to understand and be grateful and put their hands in God's hands to create what theirs look like for them.
Yes. 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 You got
I
it.
get it. But
Yeah.
you have created this brand, Keisa, to be such a multi-level brand with
Mm-hmm.
your corporate events, with your
Mm-hmm.
coaching of women to
Mm-hmm.
guide them, to get them, even these well-accomplished women that have given their testimonials on your
Yeah.
website, that you were able to help the national director of USA pageant
Mm-hmm.
uh, balance her work-life balance.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So often that well accomplished women don't do a very good job at balancing work life.
Right.
It's all work, and they think because they are women. And one of the things that I read either on your website or in the book reminded me of Michelle Obama. You said that um, because you were a teenage mom and so young, that the high school counselor didn't want to talk to you about college.
Yeah.
And I remember she said in her book, Becoming, that when she talked to the high school counselor, he didn't want to talk to her about going to an Ivy League school. So it
Yeah.
was, the two situations were so parallel, because, and I said that to say that as women, first of all, we face discrimination in so many ways. A lot of times, not only with people of other race, but within our own race and with
Mm-hmm.
our own men.
Yeah.
And we face it because we're Black women, on top of the fact that we're women. So we have a double edged sword. But in
Yeah.
spite of that, we are the most increased, educated, and income segment of the society. So, what does that really say about us? It says that we persevere, as you have. It
Yeah.
says that we push through all of the difficulty, as you have. And I would venture to say that a large percentage of those women did it because of their relationship with God. You
Yeah.
can't make it without Him.
You can't.
It's, you can't.
You cannot. In pillar number 2, the spiritual foundation, I talk about that. I
Mm-hmm.
use the analogy of going to it's like getting some land and building before getting a
Mm-hmm.
soil engineer to come out and
Mm-hmm.
survey the land, right? To say, hey, don't build it here. This is the perfect place to build this house. But you get this land and you just go and pour the foundation without consulting anybody. And a lot of times, remember, I was telling you something earlier before we got on here. Like, I was like, oh, I'm making this switch. I'm like, oh, Lord was like, did you talk to me about that? And so I had to go back. Was like, yeah, that's such is life. And all that we
Mm-hmm.
do, we jump and we try to do these things, and we hadn't even taken it before the Lord and asked him, Lord, is this your will or is this Keisa will? Is this the path you would have me to go, or is it a path that I want to go? And be still enough to hear and to listen, and developing that relationship with him so that you can hear him, and there are several ways that you can hear the Lord. Is audibly. That's how I hear him, through visions. That's how I see God, through visions. through dreams and through other people. And sometimes you may not be able to hear him, but I believe the longer that you sit there and steward over that personal relationship with the Lord, you'll be able to discern him for yourself and his voice. And it's so important that you develop that, because you only won't be able to get so far in life without him.
I agree with you. I was reading another testimony from a personal trainer. This is going to lead me into asking you to speak more in depth about your confident closet. This person said, I exuded so much confidence after working with Keisa. She helped me to release my hurt. I met my goals and now I'm full of joy. It's at Chamika B,
Shamika. Yeah,
personal
Shamika.
trainer.
Yeah.
Um, she her testimony is in line with what really could be probably something that is applicable to a lot of women. Maybe not for the same reasons, maybe not for the same hurts, but we all have them of some
Right.
type. And sometimes focusing is a challenge. It is not something that everyone was gifted with. So your confident closet, from what I saw the night that I was on the class, for me, looking good has always helped me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a gift that was passed to me as knowing how to halfway decently put myself together is innate because my mother trained me. It was something that my mom trained me to do. She taught me how to, because she did it. It was just
Mm-hmm.
normal in our household. So it was something that I did throughout my illness of struggling with Crohn's, throughout taking care of her. I kept her together as well as myself. That was just a part of what we did. So it
Right.
wasn't out of the ordinary. That is not the case with all people.
Right.
And so, because of that, they don't make the connection of what they see is important with how it affects who they are and how they are received and perceived when they step into any situation in their lives. So, tell us about how you are working this to help women bring them out of this. I saw it firsthand on the class
Yeah.
because it was almost like it's a type of therapy with the way that I viewed it.
Yeah. And so, a lot of times we just want to get dressed and um uh, and don't even know how, even with that, right? And I go deeper in the how piece, and I give some hows in the boot camp. So you came to the Confident Closet boot camp. It was a 4-day transformational boot camp that I spent 4 days. It was a long 4 days, but it was fun. 4 days just pouring into, because it's like, why are you lacking confidence? Why are you, you feel like your self-worth is low or your self-esteem, and you cannot show up because you haven't dealt with the things that life, right? And life will have us showing up in a way, if you're not careful, that represents exactly what it is that you're going through. And you don't see it until somebody pointed out, or you look up and you're still in the same place and space that you was in the last year, and nothing
Hmm.
has changed. And so
Right.
I thought it was being, it was laid upon me like, I need to do this confidence boot camp, because, women come to me all the time. They in my DMs about loving my style, or, I lack confidence, and you show up so confidently and all this. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me put a class together. Let me tell you
Hmm.
why. Let me show you how and why I show up the way I do. It's because I'm doing the work, right? And sometimes we do have to put on our clothes to get there. And so when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. And so you can build confidence just by putting on and getting up and getting yourself together. No matter if you're a mother, and like somebody said in the class, I've been wearing the same thing, and my child is 18 years old, and I keep blaming it on
I
the
heard
baby.
her.
Right, you
I
heard her,
heard
right?
her.
I don't know if you was in that class
The
that day.
t-shirt
The
and the
t-shirt,
leggings
the
and
leggings, the jogging pants, right? And when I said, "What is your uniform? Tell me what your uniform is," and or all black, or my PJs because I work from home. Like, no, 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 no. That's why you don't feel great about yourself. Like, even from working from home now, I still get up and put on clothes because I want to feel good about the work that I'm doing. I want to be productive. When I feel good, look good, and all that, it calls for me to have a productive day. But there is a lot of things, and we have to get to the root of what's causing and stopping you from moving forward and showing up confidently. You got a lot of clothes in your closet, but yet you keep saying, I have nothing to wear. It's deeper than that.
It is. It is. And I remember during the pandemic, I've never worked from home, but I remember during the pandemic, I would get up and put on clothes and make my bed up every day.
Hmm.
And I remember family members and friends, they're like, what are you putting on clothes for? You now I wasn't dressing like I was going to work, but I
Right.
had these little two-piece like lounge sets or
Hmm. Still
legging
cute.
sets.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I did that for me.
Yeah. That's what I'm
So
saying.
I just, I don't know, that's who I am. I made my bed up. I'm not going to walk around looking crazy all day.
Right.
And there was no one home but me, but I didn't want to look at that.
You're
And that's
right.
just is who I am. And I think that has brought me through some very
Yes.
difficult times in my
Yes.
life. People would
Yes.
not believe it. They think it's vain, or they think this or that, or they think you take all day to get dressed. That is not true.
Right.
I'm most days a 5 minute makeup job. I don't, I put on my clothes because I have them. I go in the
Right.
closet to put them on because they're there, because I have taken the time to shop and go get them. I do that too much, actually. That's the problem I probably need to talk to you about,
Yeah.
because it's just too many. That's another show. But
Right.
because they're there, I can do it quickly. You know,
Yeah.
I have all types for wherever I'm going,
Hmm.
because that's the way my mom raised me, from the time that, from what I wore to bed to
Hmm.
wherever I'm going, I had something to put on. So, and
Hmm.
I realized that's not the situation everyone else comes from, and even if they do, they may not keep it up or whatever.
Right.
We all are different. But
Right.
I think that brought me through my Crohn's disease.
Hmm.
It was a part of bringing me through my divorce, because there was
Yes.
a time during that time I was just wandering around going through the motions.
Right.
It brought me through caregiving for her
Yes.
death, because I kept her looking nice as well as myself, in and out of the house.
Right.
It helps. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you will when we
Yeah.
talk about this further, because you
Yeah.
have the training to do so, but it works.
It works. And to your point, I like to say, I couldn't control the divorce, right? I could try to control it, but I had no control. What I could control was how I got up and showed up for myself every day.
For
How
you.
for me, I can control these things, and a lot of times we lose ourselves in trying to control the narrative of things that we don't have full control over, and we lose ourselves in that. And so when I realized very early on, for one, I too am like you, where I love the way I feel when I get dressed. I love the way now when I went from working um, during COVID and we worked from home, I was lost. I have to be honest,
Hmm.
because I was used to 9 to 5. I'm getting up in my heels. I didn't have any clothes for the house. I didn't know what that looked like. And I'm like, so I don't own a flat. I don't have no lounge. How this supposed to look? So I got to get things for the house. And how do I want that to look? But that's when you create a vision and you know where you're heading, and you know where you're heading and what you want your life to look like. You actually create that vision, then you know how to show up for her in each area of your life. Like you
Hmm.
said, I have my bedwear. I have this. If somebody called me today and said, I want you to go to this after five thing with me, I can show up. I ain't got to be one of the ones when I've called some of my friends and said, hey, I just got this. I want you to come go with me. And they said, I ain't got nothing to wear. I said, and I tell them, that'll be the last time you tell me you don't have nothing to wear. We'll address this when I get back. And I get on off the phone, because that's unacceptable. Like, what is the vision that you have for your life? And it needs to be beyond the house, right? It needs to be beyond, like, just being in the house. And if you are in the house, it needs to be beyond your PJs.
That's right. That's right. Now, Keisa, let me ask you this. I have found in my life that the way I show up has been a problem for people. Um, I have grown at the age that I am to be unbothered by it, but I went through it in my 20s, my 30s, the little wisecracks, the looks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would venture to say that it probably hindered me in some areas of my life from promotion.
Yeah.
Um, I know that it did.
Yeah. Who Shelby? We got so much in common. We got more things as you talking. I'm like, girl, you.
So it was a huge struggle, and it has caused me to shed tears in my younger years. Now, and I'm older than you a good bit, but now, and I'm later coming into this. Now I understand that wherever this bothered someone or people,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that was not my place of promotion.
Yeah.
That I'm yet in the process of traveling to it.
Mm-hmm,
I'm just very slow in moving when God tells me, because even safe space, I was forced into it.
mm-hmm,
I heard it, but I didn't move. I
mm-hmm.
was forced. He put strategic people in place to make me move forward into it. And now with my mom being gone, my spiritual mom, and even when my mom was alive, they got along very well. They became sisters. My spiritual mom was very instrumental in me moving forward in
Mm,
doing this. Matter of fact, she's going to come on with me in my not my next show, but the one after that. We have been focusing on the 8 prayer watches for years.
mm,
And in my last women's ministry, I mentioned it because it was something that came to mind with what we were talking about in my first lady's ministry. And she said, "You really need to go over that in safe space." The women were really hungry to know more about that. And I asked my spiritual mom, I said, "Will you do that with me?" And she said, "Yes." So I don't know how long it's going to take us to do the 8 watches, but she was very instrumental in pushing me forward and
yeah,
making me see, hey, that's not your place. That's not those places, wherever they may be, that people are bothered by who God made you to be, and you're accepting of who he made them to be. That's not your place.
right. Yeah, that is so so head on, right? You hit the nail right on the head with that because so often I've dealt with it um since middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it wasn't even about the way I dressed in the time. I am a master cosmetologist as well. So that is another training that I have under my belt. But growing up, so I've been doing hair roughly since around 8 years old. And I remember every day I would change my hair at for school. And I had this girl who, whatever hairstyle that I would wear, she would come in there the next day with her hair like that. And she did it. And it just bothered me so much, Shelby, that I was just like, I got to share a room at home at this point. I think I was sharing a room. I had my own room, but I feel like at some point, one of my sisters wanted to come in with me because she didn't want to be in there with the others. So it's like, I just want my own identity. You know what I'm saying? And I would come and I said something to her about it. Like, I'm big and bold, 7th grade. Like, stop copying my hairstyles, right? And she was like, and whatever you come in with tomorrow, I'm gonna do it like that the next day. Oh, Shelby, I got my best friend to be I won't fight. I was so mad with her, not knowing at the time that I was an inspiration, right? And so, but I didn't get it because I was in my own identity. I was trying to figure, I wanted it to me. I wanted it to myself. I wanted to that to be my space, right? Moving forward as an adult and dressing in the workplace and things, I did that for me. I didn't do it for nobody else. But I found out at some point it became a thing where women were coming to my desk and they was like, "We just came to see what you was wearing today." And I would look up and I'm like, this is so weird. This is so uncomfortable. Like, are y'all serious? Like, it would be that thing. And I would get compliments all the time that I would start to cringe because I'm like, I'm just doing me. It was like, okay, thank you. But then when it became a lot, then I had to learn how to embrace that, right? But then there were people who would call me out and just be like, well, a person that, was like, you don't dress like a mother. And I'm like, well, how does a mother supposed to dress? Who gave a mother an identity where they have to dress a certain way? Because I'm professional every single day. I am, nothing. I am a wife at the same time during that time. And I'm not going to leave out the door looking less than representing myself and those who I love. So how does a mother supposed to look?
You were looking too good, girl.
And every time I went into her office, I was looked up and down, up and down. And so when the promotion came, I did not get it, even though it was the work that was taken off my desk to create the position. And when I left, many years later, along the way, they could never tell me why I never got the promotion. Only thing they kept saying was, I really don't know. But they also
You were possibly overshadowing um, those above you,
mm-hmm,
and that were your peers as well. Because when you shine, you just shine, and you can't
mm-hmm,
help it.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing I knew, God did use her as a vessel. And so when he started when things, I was like, well, Lord, okay, if I don't get this promotion, which I know it's my work, then it is writing on the wall. I know that what you're trying to tell me, right? And even though when, like you said, when he's redirecting you, he'll use whoever he needs to use to get you to that point. Because I'm in tune, I knew what was happening. So no longer became upset with her. I just said, Lord, I see what you're doing. You are redirecting me. And no matter how many jobs that I apply for, you ain't gonna let me get them anyway. No matter how qualified, how well. She even went on to tell me, I didn't go by the scores, the highest thing. I went by the people who all gave us, like, I all went for Shelby, but her score might not have been as high. Like, make that make sense. She couldn't even make sense out of it. But in the moment, Shelby, I just saw God standing next to her like, now what else you want me to do? Because I don't told you what you need to do. What I told you, I don't
Time to
told you.
go.
It's time to go.
It's time to
It's time to
go.
go. And real quick, I'm gonna insert this. The night that I came to the computer to put in my 2 weeks notification with my kids and their boyfriends right here by my side, I closed my eyes and I told my baby girl, I'm about to do it. Tears streaming down my eyes and everything. I hit the button, submit. My baby girl said, Mama, you clicked the wrong thing. It didn't take. I said, what you mean? She said, you got to move your hand over a little bit. So I closed my eyes. I said, Lord, now you put me through some torture. So I closed my eyes and I did it again. And that thing, she said, now, Mom, you got an error message. I said, an error message? She said, yeah, it didn't go through. I said, Lord, I tried. You saw. I had witnesses. I don't did it. I guess you was trying to see if I was going to do it. You were pulling my chain. I'm good. Shelby, I said, Lord, I'm going to go tomorrow and tell them, that I got an error message, but I ain't gonna say I'm gonna check on this tomorrow, Lord. And I don't know when, but I will check on it. I got to work the next day, Shelby. My job was posted. So you tell me that God, when he speak, he ain't playing with you.
He's not. He's not. We could go on and on and on.
Yes.
This is truly amazing, but I want to make it clear all I want you to, well, I can as well, make it clear all of the things that Beautiful Living brand consists of. So first, she is available for speaking engagements,
Yeah.
for workshops, for corporate events, for coaching, to put you in line, as these testimonials have indicated, to your journey to your beautiful living. She is a styling coach. She is doing what is called Confident Closet boot camps. She has a podcast called Beautiful Living with Keisa. But she has a wonderful, wonderful website that gives you all of this information. There's a video there introducing herself, telling you all that she's available for. There's the area there that you can book her online and reach out to her and contact her. Her information, I'm sure, for her next Confident Closet will be posted. It's going to be in May, correct?
Yeah, May 12th. Yeah.
May 12th will be posted. That is something that if you struggle with your confidence or putting yourself together, I truly recommend. It is very instrumental to help you figure out why. You may not do it like I do it or like she does it, but you will find your place of comfort in your stride. A lady came on and did a testimonial the night that I was on the Confident Closet
Yeah.
about how she had a special needs child and all
No.
the things that she allowed herself to be involved in and pulled in, but that doing this Confident Closet class with Keisa has put her in the place that she gives her appearance and herself, is what it equates to, some attention, and how much happier she is with looking better and feeling better and spending time with herself before she takes care of her special needs child and everything else that she has to do to sustain her life, her marriage, and her other children. So
Yeah.
this is more than the way you look. She's imparting information for you to self-examine and heal.
Yeah.
So her website is KeisaCampbell.com. That's KeisaCampbell.com. All of the brand, the book, you can get the book, all of the information. It is called Beautiful Living as well. Show them the book again. And it is also the first choice is that you go to her website and purchase the book, but it
Yeah.
is available on Amazon. You can also reach her through me at
Yeah.
safespacewithshelby.com. And I am on Facebook as well as YouTube and Instagram with Safe Space with Shelby Arrington. There it is. Keisa, I have enjoyed you. I cannot believe this hour has gone by so quickly.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have enjoyed having you, and thank you so very much for accepting my invitation. I feel
Yes.
like I've known you much longer than I have, but that's kind of how it is with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of know when I meet someone, um, he tells me.
Yeah.
And when you spoke, your brand was so riveting to me, and basically the perspective about the way you looked at life and your resetting of the mind and the way you looked at the adversities that you had gone through and the way you persevered through that and came out with the thought of all of life is beautiful living.
Still beautiful living. It is still beautiful living. And so if you don't take nothing else, change your lens, change your perspective. Life is going to life. You get to choose how you want to view it. You get to choose how you want to show up even when life is lifing. Those are things that you can control. And, as far as the confident closet, I'm just helping women to reclaim their confidence and rediscovering their style and redefining their unique identity after divorce, marriage, or motherhood. So if you find yourself in that space, reach out.
It is definitely a class that will give you the lady that came on and did the testimonial. She talked about the confidence of how she looks different and how she
Yes,
shows up different, how it has affected her walk, the way she feels about herself, that transcends in the way she walks or the way she talks, or even the way she holds her body, her posture.
hmm
All of that is communicated in the way we feel about ourselves.
She said, "Why nobody taught us this?" She's like, "Why we get to be grown and having to learn this? Like, why wasn't we taught this stuff? You
But
know?"
life can beat it out of you, even sometimes when you have it. And
Right,
then sometimes you're not around that growing up and it doesn't seem to be important, or it's something that's not addressed. And you
right.
don't know you miss it until you get so deep in darkness or come across someone like you. And it's the answer to what is missing in someone's life.
Yes,
I'm going to say this quickly. Sometimes at my church, they'll come up to my first lady and say, hey, you need to teach people how to dress. Or sometimes they'll say it to me, but it's more than that. And
yes,
coming to your confident closet made it very apparent that it is a part of building confidence and healing. And I could go on, etc.,
yeah.
about how you approached it. So I think that is marvelous. Thank you so very
Thank
much for coming
you.
by Safe Space.
Thank
I've
you so much
enjoyed you
for
so
having me.
much. Oh,
Yes,
yes, it was
yes,
wonderful. And I
yes.
can't wait. When are you coming back with Beautiful Living with Keisa?
So it's scheduled right now for May 7th, the day before
Okay.
my birthday.
Okay.
So I am kicking it off. That's the date. I better stick to it. I don't put it out here. I am kicking it off. I said going into a new chapter of life. And so May 7th is the Wednesday before my birthday. So yeah.
So, what are your platforms?
My platforms are YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. However, right now, I'm seeking the Lord because when He told me to do this show, He told me YouTube. I added the other platforms.
Okay, you better go back.
Yeah, I added all three, and I was like, "Well, Lord, I have a way to do all three." But it was never that. When he told me it was YouTube, and so I'm like, "Lord, is that where you only want me to be? Then I need to." So just stay plugged in. Follow me on Keisa Campbell on all platforms, and you can stay tuned so y'all know where it's going to be and all those beautiful things. But it's Beautiful Living with Keisa on YouTube. So there you have it.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, audience, for being here.
yeah,
And we're going to come back. I normally do the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, but my cousin Reginald Parker, I had a number of people, he came on 2 weeks ago, that asked for him to come back and give some additional information because he's a man of a lot of wisdom and knowledge. So we're going to be on next Wednesday, the 16th, which is not a normal night for me. I don't normally do the third Wednesday in the month, but we're going to do that just for him to be able to come back and give us some additional information about AI and stocks and things that we were talking about with his show. So make plans to join us next Wednesday, April the 16th at 8:30 p.m. Thank you, Keisa. Thank you, Safe Space
yeah.
family. You all have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming by. This is Shelby from Safe Space.